Hey everyone, it's Vince from entrepreneurship.com, and I'm re-recording this video, this presentation. I had given it on a Facebook Live session, but the Facebook Live platform is very glitchy and finicky, and it just came out awful, so I'm doing this again, so this is easier for you to reference, and I'd like to just tell you a quick story about how in 6 months or less, we hit $250,000 in revenue in our rental arbitrage and property management portfolio. And honestly, the reason I'm telling this story is just how easily attainable this really is if you put your mind to it. So without further ado, how we hit $250,000 in 6 months. And this is our short story on rapid scaling with Airbnb arbitrage and property management. So let's get into it. So a little bit of a background. So at the beginning of 2023, we had a single unit. Actually, my business partner, Adam, had this unit prior to partnering with me. And this is a property management unit, as you see here. And then you could tell by the photo, it's really not anything too spectacular. It was really just it was like a 3-bedroom home, local to town to us in Pennsylvania. It was producing okay revenue. And then at the beginning of 2023, that's really all we had in place. As a matter of fact, my account wasn't even created yet for this. And all we had was this one unit. And then we had a conversation and we decided come February, we're going to take this very seriously. We're going to, if we're doing arbitrage, we're going to do it right. And we're going to optimize our platform. We're going to optimize our listings and we're going to scale quickly, right? So by August, we checked our Airbnb account and we had $250,000 of revenue. Now I understand that's actually 8 months, not 6 months, but just to put it in perspective for you, we had this one unit live, then we transferred it over to our new account, and then in February was when we got our very first new unit with regards to scaling, and then by end of May, we had 10 units live. So this is really 4 solid months of scaling. And then once we got started in February, by the time we hit August, we hit that $250,000 mark. As a matter of fact, I just checked this the other day, and it's close to $280,000, if not over. But either way, just to put it in perspective for you, the kind of revenue that we achieved in a short time frame, right? So you're probably wondering, okay, why did you guys do this? Why did you get an Airbnb arbitrage? And just like a lot of you and a lot of people that we work with and that work with us, the reality is I started in traditional real estate investing. So this is me. This is a photo of me in 2019. I just landed my first 2-family multifamily property. And I know I don't look thrilled in the picture. Maybe I was just going for the cool vibe. But either way, I was stoked because I thought I was finally on this path to financial freedom. But in all actuality, I tell this to everyone, traditional real estate investing is fantastic for that long-term equity, but for the monthly cash flow, it's very slim. And every year I would have so many expenses for that house. One major repair would take all my cash flow away. I'm not even kidding. Just a few weeks ago, I had a $5,000 electrician job. The year before that, I had a roof job that was over $5,000. I had to redo the deck before that. So it was like every time I finally started making money on the house, it would just go right into repairs. And the house will be worth a lot in 20, 30 years, but like I want to be financially free now, right? Like I don't want to wait until I'm 65 to stop my W-2. I want to work for myself. So arbitrage was a way that we heard about for rapid scaling, and we were skeptical of the model, just like every other real estate investor, but it really just turned out to be tremendous for us because you're taking hold of properties very quickly. It requires very, very little capital, and you're cash flowing so much more than you are with traditional real estate investing on each unit, right? So that's how I got into this, and that's how we got started. So in 2023 is when I decided to make the jump. My business partner, Adam, decided to make the jump with me because, again, all he had was this one property management deal, and we wanted to scale and, be financially free and make much more passive income. So what we did is we hit the ground running. So at the beginning of February, we started identifying target cities, and we reached out to landlords like mad. And what ended up happening was by end of February, we had 3 new live units, right? So one point I really want to emphasize here is, so the 2 units on the top are in a city that is 4 hours away from us, right? We do not live close to this city at all. So it was a lot of work, on the weekends. I think 2 weekends out of the month, we drove out to that city. met with landlords. We would schedule all of our meetings in one day. And then once we, we'd schedule all our meetings, we looked at all of these units together. Once we picked a few with landlords that wanted to work with us, we went back out the following weekend or the 2 weekends after that, furnished the unit, got it set up, and set up all of our operations. So it was about 2 weekends out of the month. No, I get it. That's a lot of travel, but 2 weekends out of the month is all it took to get these 2 units live. And as you've probably seen on my profile, in certain months, these profit over $2,000 a month, like each. So that's pretty wild, right? So 2 weekends out of the month, that's really all the time it took for us. So that unit on the bottom was fortunately, the third unit on the bottom is actually in our hometown in Pennsylvania. And if it wasn't for that one being in our hometown, we probably wouldn't have launched that simultaneous to these other 2 units because we were just getting our feet wet. But I kid you not, to this day, I'm still kicking myself in the butt. When we went out to look at those 2 units on top that we ended up getting, there was another deal that we had offered that honestly was even better. They were 2 3-bedroom 3-bed, 2-bath units, and they probably would have made so much more money than the 2 units that we have here now. But we had to reject the deal because at the time we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how much capital we would be able to spend on furniture, and we didn't know how to leverage the furniture costs like we do now. So we denied the deal. And truthfully, it would have been such a great deal. So we could have had 5 units in the month of February if we really knew what we were doing at the time. But now we've optimized our systems. We know how to do this effectively without pulling cash out of our pocket. And, we could have taken those 5 units, but we landed 3 units at the end of February. So then in March, we revisited that city that's 4 hours away from us, and we did the same exact thing. So we would bulk schedule meetings on weekends to view apartments that were listed for rent, and we would build relationships with these landlords. And, eventually we were offered these units, or we inquired about a few of these units. And the 2 units on the bottom are from the same building in March. And then the 2 units on the top in February are from the same building as well. So the landlords that own these 2 different buildings, they loved the model that we had, and they were willing to just give us both units in the buildings, right? So we were able to take 2 units in one handshake in March, and same thing with February. And then that unit on the top, that's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath townhome. And the landlord loved our business model. As a matter of fact, he's offered us 2 other units since then. Although I will say the other 2 units that he's offered us, when we ran the numbers, didn't quite work out, so we didn't take them. But the point I'm trying to make here is once you build a relationship with a landlord that is a real estate investor and they like what you have to offer, they will constantly throw you a bone, right? So we could have had another 2 units from that deal, but again, we ran the numbers. They didn't really seem all that, so we didn't go that route. Some of the conversations or some of the units that we landed in March stemmed from conversations that we had in February. But again, it's all relationship driven. It's all sales driven. It's a numbers game, and you reach out to enough people and you just have deals being thrown at you left and right. So in April, since March was pretty hectic, we had 3 units that we launched from 4 hours away that carried over in April by the time they went live. And then in April, we landed probably our biggest project. So this is a luxury townhome, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, rooftop deck, a lot like amazing city views. And we really put a lot of time and money into this one, so we spent a little bit more on furniture than we would have on other units, but it's because we knew that the possibility was there, the potential was there for insanely high revenues, and we're not regretting that one bit. We hired interior designers, we spent a little bit more on a game room and outdoor furniture and things like that, so that unit's been doing very, very well, but it was a big project for us. I think it took us 2 weekends to actually get the whole place wrapped up and ready to go, so that took up a bulk of April. And then in May, we launched our 2 beach house property management units. So these 2 units are property management deals, right? And property management is just an incredible model because in all of the units on the left here, we had to spend thousands on furniture, right? Whether we paid it out of pocket or we just leveraged credit. But in property management deals, the landlord pays for all the furniture, right? Because you're offering them just a percentage, right? So you're just taking a percentage of revenue as opposed to profiting everything over rent. But you have zero absolutely zero upfront costs. So you profit on day one. You cannot lose. It's a win-win deal. You won't make as much monthly profit as you would on an arbitrage deal, but it is absolutely zero risk for you at all. And once you have your systems in place, you have your cleaners, your handymen, your virtual assistants, it's so easy to tack on these deals, and you are out of pocket absolutely nothing. So it is essential to have this in your toolkit. So believe it or not, the landlord that offered us these 2 units was the same landlord that we had the property management deal from before February, so the one that stemmed from last year. So again, very relationship driven. He saw the services that we were providing, the value behind it, and then said, you know what, hey, I'm thinking of buying a 2-family near the beach, so I want to give them to you guys. I want to have you manage them. And then we quite literally just hand off the operations to our virtual assistants and whatnot. So the amount of time I spend now on all of these units is like nothing, right? So you're probably wondering why, if you guys were doing so well, why did you stop in May? And the reality is, in the summer, we wanted to get a little bit of our lives back because we were traveling back and forth on the weekends. But the main thing is we wanted to build out the Airpreneur.com Freedom Accelerator program. So we spent a couple of months to develop that, and we're very confident that we've just created a tremendous program for folks who are learning to do this and to learn to do it without making mistakes, to learn to hit the ground running and be very, very profitable because they understand how to optimize listings. So that's it in a nutshell, right? So some of the very important points I'd like to make and the lessons learned here are that relationships go a long way. Once you do get the landlords to agree to work with you and interested in your services, they will certainly throw you more deals because they see tremendous value in you. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is we had full-time jobs while we did all this. So I keep getting these these comments from folks like, I don't think I can dedicate time because I have a full-time job. And like, look, I get it. It's tough, but it's never going to be like, you can't expect to spend 1 hour a month on a 6-figure financial freedom business, right? You can't expect that. But you can expect for something like this to spend maybe 10 hours a month, and before you know it, you have a 6-figure business. So again, this really only took 4 months of scaling. I mean, it was a tough 4 months, but it was 4 months of scaling. Summer's 4 months, right? Winter's 4 months. Like, you can, 3 months, I guess, but you can, in a season, you can drastically change the trajectory of your life by doing this model and implementing it effectively. So I wanted to re-record this just so you had better audio, better visual, and it came across a little bit better. So I hope that helps you out and inspires you to see what's possible when you do this, because beginning of 2023, I knew nothing about this. So if you guys have any questions, shoot us a message or head to airpreneur.com, schedule some time to chat with us. We look forward to hearing about your journey next. So thanks a lot. Have a great day.